What's up, everybody? Berserker Bear coming to you. Doing a little bit different of a cast today. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to do it all in one shot. But this will be like a little bit of a side tangent. Truth drop in movies, theater, media type of deal. Discernment and stuff. I mean, I've been a gamer my entire life. I'm not ashamed to say it. I like getting down on some games, and it's part of my who I am. So with that, and having some, with the general rise of consciousness, as we've all been saying lately, with the uber discernment that we all have, I look at some of these movies that I watch and some of the games that I played throughout my past and everything, come back full circle and see it now. It's like some of them are a lot of pretty heavy gravy truth drops, to be honest with you. Movies, obviously, there's so many to list that I can't really get into it right now. But as far as games go, this one that I'm going to go over right now at the beginning scene, it's going to break it down real quick for what I think and is really being said as far as the esoteric world and truth drops. This game is called Shadow of the Colossus, and for PlayStation, there's a real layered synchronicity here, as far as my world at least, with this game. My father, one of his work buddies back in the day before he retired, told him about this game probably 15 years ago. It came out a long time ago, back when I had the PlayStation 2. Okay, so I heard about it then. My dad told me about it because he knew I was always into this kind of stuff. I got it, played it and beat it. It was one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Up there with some of the best games you can even say. Zelda, Final Fantasy VII. I mean, you could even throw Super Tecmo Bowl in there. I'm taking it back. Spanning genres, platforms and all that, So, Shadow of the Colossus, truth drop galore, not only for there being, giant life biology back in the day that was on this realm, also for the esoteric sense, and I'll get into that as I go through this. I'll pause it, I guess, throughout so I don't get hit with a copyright. There's a lot of video on this game on YouTube, so I don't think that I would. I'll upload this to my YouTube account, and hopefully it doesn't get tagged. There's a lot of video on this. I would even actually, as far as truth drop goes too, I believe that the way the world and the landscape is depicted in this game is how our realm used to look before the last reset. When it was the benevolent Tartarian controllers across the realm, landscapes of just beautiful mountains and castles, and it's effectively, if you watch a trailer of this game, you'll see that as far as to get a visual spectacle of it, and how I really think that this place was back in the day before it was flipped over into the cities and all that stuff. So without getting into that, I'd like to stay more esoteric here with truth drop in the media. In this case, it's going to be from a PlayStation game that first came out in PlayStation 2. They revamped it and put it out for PlayStation 4. Of course, I bought it. It's called Shadow of the Colossus. And I'm just going to get right into the beginning of it. And as it goes along, I will stop and do some narration for fear of maybe getting struck by a copyright, because I'm going to try to go through the entire beginning opening scene and show you guys it, and I'll narrate through it, and we'll see how this works. I'm going to have to do this video a couple times, but this is my first try without any outline. So here we go. So the raptor crosses the moon. And the moon is very key in this, because that warrior, we'll call him hero, is coming upon a realm that is seemingly ruled over by the Queen Necromancer. La Luna, necromancy. Keep that in mind. So he has a maiden with him who has. There's no backstory to this. She's deceased, and this warrior is bringing her to this secluded, closed-off realm under La Luna because he has ambition to do something. Again, it's always under the moon. And what his ambition to do is the whole focal point, and the crux and the meat and potatoes of the storyline. And I say the raptor crosses the La Luna in the beginning because I believe the raptor and the bird of prey, the raptor, is the most beautiful, majestic thing that there is on this earth because it soars above everything. You could take that spiritually, and I'm not going to get into the theology of that, but I believe that they're very high ascended spiritual beings. And the fact that the raptor crossed in front of La Luna to begin this is very deep. Very deep. It means that the high ascended beings always have the upper hand. That's what I take from that. So he's entering an old realm that has old stone foundations, a secluded, closed-off land, and taking his deceased maiden to a tower that's right in smack dab right in the middle of this closed-off realm. On a sidebar here, another video game that the director of this same game, it's some Japanese guy. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he also directed a game called Ico. ICO. I'd look up a trailer on that too. Again, that's how I believe the realm used to look. So that's it. I'll explain the game itself. So the maiden is deceased, and the warrior takes her body to a secluded, closed-off land nobody's allowed to go to make a deal with a sentient being who is in that huge tower that he was going to across the bridge, and in order to bring his maiden back to life. Okay? Now, the sentient being speaks to him through the roof, and the sentient being's name is Dormin. 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 Okay? That backwards is Nimrod. Okay? Now, you can take that for however you want, but it is what it is. And the tower in the middle of the realm could represent the Tower of Babel, obviously. The sentient being whom the warrior makes the deal with is called Dormin. And Dormin charges the warrior with a task to set out across the land to defeat a series of Colossus. And I'm saying, you watch some of these, the trailers for some of this, it's very cool. And it's a puzzle game in that you have to find a way to climb onto these titans who are part of the landscape at first, and they come alive like mountains. And the charge is he sets off across the land. I forget what his name is. Ico? Or something like that. Anyway, puzzle is you got to find a way to get on top of these colossi and stab them with your sword and bring them down. And then their life force goes through him. He's charged by Dormin, to do this in order to bring his maiden back. Now, what does that sound like to you? That's a deal. What kind of deal? Well, we know what kind of deal. Under the necromancy of the La Luna. That's a Faustian deal. It's very interesting how this game plays out, too. So, beat the game. You'll finally understand that as you play a little bit through the game, that there's somebody hot on his tail. It's a bunch of, like, the only way I could explain it is priests. That it's played out during the game like they're the bad people chasing him, and they look like druid priests or ancient priests or whatever, because they realize that he's going to the Forbidden Land to try to bring his lady back, and it's obviously forbidden. They're chasing after him, but it's led during the course of the game. Leads you to believe that they're chasing him. They're bad. Anyway, the course of the game plays out. He's charged with defeating these Colossus, and once they defeat the Colossus, it's implied that his maiden will come to life, right? So long story short, and he's being tailed by these priests. Long story short, when you beat the game, you find out that the priests were chasing him because he stole an ancient sword, the sword that would be able to use to open the Forbidden Lands to come and do this deal and use the ancient magic, right? So they were chasing after the warrior because he stole that sword because he wanted to hook up his maiden. He went there and made the deal with Dorman. Set out, you beat the game, and you go back to Dorman to reclaim your prize under the necromancy under La Luna. It's playing audio, that's why the lights are on. I'm sorry about this. So, Dorman, you go back and the warrior wants to reclaim his prize. Being that it was a Faustian deal, there's always terms and conditions, and you got to read the fine print. So what that deal actually was a trick craft by Dorman to release his spirit onto the world in the realm. His spirit was chopped up and locked away by those priests' lineage to seal them off in the Forbidden Lands, never to be seen again. Dorman, Nimrod. Okay, that's what the priests knew was going to happen. The trick was, yeah, son, we'll bring her back to life, and he does bring her back to life. Dorman does bring the maiden back to life, but he kills and resurrects through the hero. Okay, that's the Faustian deal. The hero gets killed. He gets killed. There still is a catch though, because it's necromancy, and there's always a deal, a Faustian deal, under La Luna. So here's how it goes. At the end, it's turned into, it was a trick. When he defeated all those 18 Colossi, I believe it's 18, that was the last Colossus was the last key to unleash Dorman through the warrior, because he was taking all their souls, right? And that comes to be, Dorman manifests as a huge Colossi, and the actual druid priests, or the priests, take him out. Meanwhile, the hero has succumbed because he gets killed before the demon manifests. And this all plays out in the series, a movie series at the end of the film, or at the end of the game. Very interesting, extremely truth droppage. 100% for sure gravy. In my opinion, I'm just telling you how I feel. You can take it or leave it. Leave comments. Put a thumbs down. I don't care. I think this. I'll put out more videos if this goes well. Anyway, so he manifests. The actual priests that are able to kill the demon, right? You actually play as him too. It's very cool. And the maiden is alive. Priests leave. The bridge collapses, and the maiden is alive. And in the hole where the hero was sucked into, killed and reincarnated as the demon that was then killed again by the priest before they left, there's a baby in this well, and the maiden goes in there, and it ends with a shot panning out from the tower with the baby, and then you notice that the little baby has horns on his head, reincarnated Dorman. It's always a Faustian deal. Under La Luna, who's the necromancer, I'm not sure how that ties into anything that's in the truth realm or whatever, but that's how I see this game and how this game played out. It's one of the coolest games I've ever played, and because of the layered synchronicity and how I see things, layered synchronicity being put onto this game 15 years ago, coming back to it and seeing how much it applies to stuff that I'm researching right now, as far as like at least mud fossils, Faustian deal that BB talks about. I mean, it's like just layered synchronicity across time, smacking you right in the face. And I like this kind of stuff. I think that you can see truth drops, and I like to call it out when I see it, especially from a cool game like this. Shadow of the Colossus, PlayStation 2. Check out the trailer. Hopefully you like this installment of Esoteric Truth Drops with Berserker Bear. I'll put some more out if you like it. If you don't, maybe I'll still put some more out. Oh well, we'll see. Catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.